My path to becoming an investor is kind of convoluted. I'm a reluctant investor. I really am a frustrated entrepreneur, and I come from the time in Silicon Valley when it was entrepreneurs investing in entrepreneurs rather than MBAs investing in MBAs. And what I found was there was a point in time when I was offered the opportunity to go to Kleiner Perkins and be an investor that I had to consider whether or not having access to that network and resources could help me do what I like to do better, which was develop talent and develop and create new businesses. So I became an investor in order to tap into the resources of a great place like Kleiner Perkins to do what I love to do, which is not invest, but to build. When people come to me telling me they want to become a venture investor, I really have to ask why. Because certainly a young person, in my mind, would be better spending their time building a career as an operator, getting that experience. And once they know how to operate, once they've actually had to learn how to make payroll, once they've had to live through an entrepreneurial cycle, then they can decide whether their value is best in investing or best in creating. I don't think that young venture capitalists truly appreciate that the life of an entrepreneur. And I always tell entrepreneurs, don't take capital from somebody who hasn't had to make payroll, because they will not understand the challenges and the emotional challenges that you're going through as an entrepreneur. When I started investing, I had a long list, a checklist that I would go through in evaluating a new deal. I figured there was a way to analyze whether or not the deal would ultimately be successful and whether or not this was a smart way for me to invest my money. And each year, I felt like I knew less and less and less. And the list got smaller and smaller and smaller. And today, there's only three things I look for. I look for the quality of the team. In particular, do we have a founding team that is going to be able to learn on the job, has a sense of passion and vision for what they're going to accomplish, a sense of purpose, can answer the question, why them? I look for a market that is going to be big enough, a problem set that is important enough to fail at, because most of these things fail. And as a result, you need to make sure that you're not wasting your time trying something just to make the dollar. And that's the question, why this? And then I ask whether or not there's something particularly today that makes this a compelling opportunity. And that's the why now. So this is actually my third time in New Zealand, and each time I've had a chance to interface with entrepreneurs, government, universities, incubators, and investors. And I am an admirer of what you've accomplished here so far. The vibrancy of the entrepreneurial community and of the angel investing community is really impressive. The sophistication of the people in both sets is world class. What's missing in this environment is the follow-on capital and the experience of having done it before that can be transmitted to each new generation. And that takes a while. One of the reasons I wrote my newest book, which is Straight Talk for Startups, was a chance to take the best practices from places like Silicon Valley and give them to a place like New Zealand so that they would have the advantage of what those best practices are. I think that what makes this a particularly admirable environment and ecosystem is the humanity in the system. There's a real sense of camaraderie and respect amongst the angels and the investors. And I believe that that manifests itself in much more productive and constructive relationships than I would see normally between investors and entrepreneurs, which is more of a controversy that goes on. So I owe that in part to the heritage of New Zealand. I think New Zealand has figured things out that the rest of the world needs to figure out. How to bring diverse cultures together, the Maori culture, the Western culture, the Eastern culture, and to get the best of all of them. And I believe that bleeds into this ecosystem that is uniquely Kiwi.